How you guys doing? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be looking at a launchpad called MoonEdge, and of course we're going to look at if this is a potential investment opportunity, if the projects are bullish or bearish, how to get started with MoonEdge, my personal price prediction, and much more. So if you want to learn more about MoonEdge, this is the video for you. Hopefully you are nice and comfortable, grab a drink, sit tight, relax, and enjoy the value of this video. Alright, so we are going to get started with MoonEdge right away. It is a launchpad based on the Polygon chain, and it is cross-chain as well. It is, well, very controversial. There's a lot of people that are bullish on it. There's a lot of people that are bearish on it. So we can't really just follow the sentiment. You know, if we have to follow the sentiment, it's all a scam. It's all bad. It's a rug pull. But on the other hand, we have people saying that it's fantastic. So we really have to dive in and actually see for ourselves how good it is. And what better way to start than with the tiered system? So on the homepage itself, we should be able to find the tiered system, but it can also be found on their white paper, which we are going to tackle a little bit later on in this video. So starting off, we can see that they have 4 tiers. The website is a bit laggy. So if you see the website lagging on your screen, that is not your YouTube, that is this website. We can see that the very first tier is 5,000 R-Moon required and will give a pool weight of 2. There are no lottery tiers, as all of the tiers will give a guaranteed allocation, which is very good. That is a positive. In my opinion, the Polygon chain is also a positive, and cross-chain, of course, is always a positive. So thus far, that is looking pretty good, and that is definitely what I'm looking for in a launchpad. At any rate, 5,000 for the first tier. Let's quickly look at the current price of the token. Token is going for less than a cent, so that is far too difficult for my my head to calculate. So we're going to grab the calculator. So that would be 0.004, and we're going to do that times 5,000 to calculate the price in US dollars of the first tier. So as you can see, a $20 entry point for this launchpad. That is very, very cheap. That means you can get into this launchpad very cheap, a low entry to barrier. We'll give a pool weight of 2. As you can see, there are many other tiers. Let's look at the biggest one, that is tier 5. It will require you to stake 25,000. So again, same calculation, but then times 25,000. We can see that the most expensive tier is 100. So all of the tiers seem to be very, very cheap. I mean, the first tier is incredibly cheap, but even the most expensive tier for $100, well, let's just say, relatively speaking, on DeFi or DAO Maker, that's not even going to give you a first tier lottery ticket. So yeah, very cheap thus far. And that can mean a couple of things. That can mean either A, it is a launchpad created for smaller investors, either beginners or just investors with less money, people that are looking for smaller risk, smaller gains, or it is because the price has simply dumped, and because the price of the token is so low, that made the tiers very low as well. I mean, look at this. The price used to be 16 cents per token, and again, if we make the same calculation but then for 16 cents, then the most cheap tier would have already been $800. So what I'm looking at here is mostly the price of this token tanked so much that right now it is worth nothing anymore, and the tiers became super cheap. This was in 2021, and as you can see, the price absolutely tanked, which is most of the reason why it is so cheap right now. Regardless though, that is all for the tiered system. As you can see, they all have a guaranteed allocation, which is good, and yeah, I mean, also to be expected from this price. Moving over to the roadmap. Now the roadmap is on their white paper as well. We're going to review the white paper in a little bit, and also the projects. Those are going to be very important, but a roadmap, I see a lot of investors looking over the roadmap, not realizing how important it is. These are the the future updates that are going to happen for this Launchpad, and it is an indication of what the team has already done. So it's actually extremely important. So we should take a quick look at this at least. We can see here in Q1 of 2022, the multi-chain expansion VRF integration released, and the community tier volume 2 private round integration. So not that many updates, but mostly very important updates. Of course, the cross-chain is a huge part of the, let me button this up a little bit. The cross-chain, of course, being a very important part of any Launchpad. So that was very important. It was done in Q1. Q2, you can see it's just almost completely empty. Community voting released, GameFight environment R&D. That is all that happened throughout the entirety of Q2. So that's a bit awkward. Q3, staking volume 3, gamified environment release, and deflationary systems. So when you say deflationary systems, you got to wonder what exactly does that mean? They're being super vague about it, right? What type of deflationary systems were put in place and why? Why are these systems put into place? And then I'm not even mentioning the very awkward UI design. I don't like this at all. It's very unique. I got to give them that, but I don't think I like the design. And then again in Q4, only one thing is planned, and that is the MoonEdge DAO creators ecosystem R&D. So I feel like there's very little on the roadmap, very little is being done, and very little has been done. Now then again, this Launchpad has been live since 2021, so there could be an argument made that most of the significant work has already been done in the past. But regardless though, it does look like it is a little bit bleak in terms of progress from the developer side of things. Now, looking over at their backers, we can see that we have quite some names on the list. Synapse is of course pretty big, but for the rest, I'm not seeing any very large names that are standing out to me. Not really any tier 1 projects. Again, Synapse is quite big, but that is about all that I can really find here. So again, you can tell that the Launchpad is of lower quality by the amount of partners that it has, and mostly the quality type of partners that they have. We're not seeing any massive names. We're not seeing any market leaders in here, indicating that these tier 1 Launchpads and tier 1 projects don't want to be associated or don't want to invest into MoonEdge. Definitely placing this already in a tier 3 or a tier 2 Launchpad, likely to be tier 3, but we're gonna have to wait and see what the projects look like in order to make a good judgment call on that. In any case, these are the partners. Not much more to say about that. Let's now move over to the projects, as that is absolutely one of the most important elements to a Launchpad. The projects, it brings all of the utility to the token. So we're going to look at that right now. And after that, I'll walk you guys through the staking, the white paper, and the community. We're seeing a big bear sentiment. We're going to look at that. What are the people complaining about? And is it something you should be worried about or not? So let's get into it. All right, so here we are on the projects page on MoonEdge. We can see here that there's a bunch of completed projects already. We see Planet Mojo. I've heard a lot about that actually. This game looked pretty promising. We'll look into it with a bit more detail in a bit. We see My Trade, 2 Monkey Juice Bar, Galaxy Fight Club, Mecha Chain, Kayoko. Let's see if they have any other projects that have been released. Yep. We see Blockchain Monster, Fidira. Of course, they did their own launch on their own Launchpad, MoonEdge, and then they've had Forest Night as well. They put here the ROI, which was 15.3, but so they do put the ROI in everything. They just didn't put it in that one. So we can actually see the returns that its investors made from the price of the TGE all the way to the all-time high. So keep in mind that 15.3x, it doesn't necessarily mean that their entire investment made a 15.3x. I assume that these investments did not give a TGE 100% release, meaning that they made profits, but it could also have made losses despite having a 15.3 at all-time high. That's important to keep in mind. However, it is a good indicator how well the project did in general. So Forest Night did a 15.3x. Blockchain Monster did a 44.4x. Let's see, Fidira did a 8.33x. Then we see Galaxy Fight Club with a 4.5. These don't have a ROI. So why is that? Is it because it was a negative ROI? We're going to check that out in a bit. All of these don't have ROI either, despite having the completed status. So that's curious. We'll look at that in a bit. For now, though, we're going to look at the one and only upcoming project that they have, which is Merle. Now, again, it's good to see that they're launching something, even though it's just one, of course. We're in a bear market here, so it is understandable that there's not that many projects launching. So I'm going to give them a break on that. That's fine. If we click on the project, we can find all of the information, the first round, the second round, and the requirements. Everything is still to be announced, so it's still going to be a while before Merle is going to launch. Here you would just find all of your information, the listing price, and the initial market cap, all very, very important. From here, you should be able to navigate to the website of Merle. There you go. So this is a crossroads of the meta/physical fashion where we write our own story. Okay, so it looks like an IDO here. Interesting. Right, so it is very NFT based. Bybit X Merle Genesis NFTs. Okay, so I'm not going to go too far into it. This is just one of the projects that they have. Of course, it is important to do your own research on the projects that are launching right now. What I can tell you right off the bat is that I haven't seen any tier 1 projects launching. So these are definitely the tier 3, maybe the tier 2 type of projects that launch, which makes sense because this is definitely probably a tier 3 Launchpad. So we see here Planet Mojo. With an INO, so that's an initial NFT offering. Now, again, Planet Mojo is a game, and overall, you should do your own research. Overall, what I can say right now is that the projects give decent ROIs, but they're not the highest quality of projects, right? It is not the type of projects that a DeFi or a DAO maker would be posting. So that is something to keep in mind. The Launchpad is cheaper, but you will also have more sketchy projects, more obscure type of projects. If that is something you like, then that is great. If you want to invest bigger allocations with more money that you have to invest into bigger, more well-known IDOs and IGOs, then obviously MoonEdge is not going to be for you. But it's great to invest in smaller projects with lower entry budgets. So that's it for the projects. Of course, we do have MyTrade over here. They did not list the ROI, which is interesting. You can see here the listing price was at 0.05. So that's a 0.05. Let's move over to CoinMarketCap and see if we can find MyEdge. No, they are not to be found. Oh, sorry, MyTrade. Made a mistake there. No worries. MyTrade. Yeah, there we go. So we can find them. Let's see. So right now it is at 0.1 and the price here was 0.5. So it's 5x down from its TGE. Wow, look at this. So we're seeing, of course, 5 cents. This was the TGE price. They bought it for 5 cents. It stayed at 5 cents. And after that, it just immediately went down right off the bat. We have some bullish comments, but I mean, this is not a bullish chart at all, right? Probably there was no TGE release. Yeah, there was 25% at TGE. Interesting because no one dumped their tokens, as you can see. No one dumped their tokens. And then over here, which I believe was 1 month, so this is when the vesting started, we can see that the token just absolutely crippled. There was no money made unless you sold over here, but overall there was no money made with this project, which is also why they didn't put the ROI on the project, because the project didn't make profits. And with that in mind, we can also assume that Planet Mojo, Kyoko, Mecha Chain, MyTrade, and 2Monkey Juice Bar, and BCMHINO did not make profits either. Otherwise, we would, or at least I would have expected to see the ROI on their project listed, just like they have done that with the other as well. So that is important to note down. And that's about all for the projects, really. So let's move over to staking. That's going to be really important. Of course, if you do want to participate, you're going to have to stake. Just simply connect your MetaMask, or you can also connect your BitKeep. Regardless, though, you're going to need to be connected to the Matic network. That is the Polygon network, as that is the chain that MoonEdge is running on. Once you've connected your wallet, you have here your staking calculator. So for instance, you can put in, let's say 500, and then you will be able to put in how long you lock them up. Let's say 180 days. Then you can see here your estimated amount that you will get for that and how long it is going to be locked. They will also give you your estimated tier. So obviously we'll have to put a much more in there, and then it will tell you what tier you will get, which is really nice. That's actually something Launchpads don't do often, right? So 5,000, that will give you this tier, and like that. So that is very important, and it's actually very nice. Not a lot of Launchpads bring that luxury to the table. Here you also have an FAQ, for instance, how can I start the KYC process? And they say here, you need to hold at least 1,000 Moon in your wallet to be able to start the KYC process. Okay. And yeah, you can see all of the other questions and answers over there. Just click on approve Moon and submit. And just like that, you will have staked your tokens and should be able to participate and get your rewards. Now, that is just all for the staking. It's really not that impressive. It's not much else to it. There's nothing else to the website either. I mean, here you will have your swaps. You have your socials, and that is all that there is to it. So we're going to move away from the website now, and we're going to start looking at the Whitepaper and the team behind this. And after that, we have a little surprise, as we're going to be looking at their Twitter to find out what the bearish sentiment is all about. So definitely stay tuned for the second part of this video. It is still very important. Anything can still happen. And yeah, I think Whitepaper is next up. So let's go. So of course, the projects let me down a little bit. I didn't like it that much, but I was impressed by the Whitepaper. I actually really liked what they did with it, and it was very easy to read, and I didn't really catch that many red flags. So again, the community sentiment and the projects, I'm not bullish on that, but for the Whitepaper, it's a little bit better actually. So we see here, what is MoonEdge? Trustworthy, fair, transparent, and supportive. Okay, fair enough. That's a bit of fluff, of course. They did here their market research, talking about the opportunity in the market, mostly referring to Polygon and Uniswap, and basically stating that there's more and more holders on these chains and more projects launching, which of course is an opportunity, and they're not wrong. It is an opportunity, especially for launchpads. And right now we're in a bear market, so launchpads aren't doing too hot. But if you set yourself up with the right chain, with the right projects, with the right team, with the right website, then when the bull run hits, you can just go absolutely to the moon, or in their case, to the moon's edge. MoonEdge says leverages Polygon network for inexpensive IDO participation and exciting Polygon network project opportunities. Complete project due diligence, ensure only top tier projects are brought to our community, minimizing the chance of scams and rug pulls. Our experienced MoonEdge team provides a value add service that helps protect projects reach their full potential of the projects. So again, this is all basic stuff for a launchpad, but it is still portrayed very nice and clear on their Whitepaper. Empowers the community by offering guaranteed opportunities, project benefits from a wide range of communities. MoonEdge and their partners will offer a full support of the project launching on our platform, and MoonEdge members benefit from exciting Polygon network project opportunities. Okay, pretty basic stuff over there. How it works. MoonEdge uses a fair tiered system, minimum holding required for each tier. Tiers dynamically adjust based on the weight of the pool size. Project allocation vary for each tier. Snapshots taken pre-launch to determine the tier placement. Right, now what is more interesting to me is that they have 2 rounds. The first one is just the normal tier predetermined time frame allocation. And then the second tier is the unsold tokens are relocated based on the tier system and sold on FCFS first come first served basis. So that is again pretty standard for most Launchpads. So thus far nothing really talking about their USPs or anything like that. Getting into their token utility though, IDO participation, again, fair tier system, guaranteed allocation for all tiers, strong hand incentive. Now this actually is definitely a good USP and one of their main USPs, right? Not all Launchpads have guaranteed allocations for every tier. They do. And of course, their second USP being that they're very cheap. And for the rest, they really pride themselves with being cross-chain and under the Polygon chain, which seems to be their biggest USPs. Of course, they also have their DAO governance and a bunch more. We'll get into their USPs later down the line. Governance and staking, voting on protocol updates, choose projects to be hosted on MoonEdge. So it's not just the team that's vetting and choosing the projects, the investors and the community will also have a say in it. And then there's also a delegation of project reviewers, reward for providing liquidity, and more details later. Now this didn't need to be in the white paper at all, but okay, fair enough. Then here they have an overview with them versus the competitors. Again, very visual. I do like that. They say here decentralized fundraising, governance model, full project audit, fair allocation system, and custom project support. They say here that they have every single one of it. And then they show how much the other Launchpads have. Now, notice how we see here that some of these, for instance, Unicrypt, barely have any check marks. Now, again, they did make it in a way that they marketed themselves against Launchpads that aren't the best of the best anyways, and they always make themselves look better. It is true, though. I mean, they do have, a governance model and a fair allocation system. Although I do feel like some of these Launchpads also have anti-bot systems, but anyways, this is just a visual representation of their USPs and what they do differently. Then moving over to the token overview, we can see a 200 million total supply, a 20 million strategic sale, and a 50 million private sale. Then we have a 10 million public and a 6 million listing. We can see also here the price. Strategic paid 0.125. Private paid 0.25 and public paid 0.3. Let's see here. That is definitely a very cheap price for the strategic. Most was obviously raised during the private sale, as that is the perfect balance, of course, between investors and company for investing. So that's the biggest round. Public more so being reserved for marketing purposes. So a much lower cap. And and the individual cap is $500. Then here we have the tokenomics, also very interesting stuff. Again, very visually appealing. We see it at 10% at listing, so that's a 10% TGE, and then 0.33% daily. Interesting choice to do it daily for 9 months. Private will get 16% TGE and 40% daily. Public will get 25% at TGE. So again, it's very interesting to see how much has been released at TGE, but the price staying the same. That was pretty cool. Team, of course, as they should, locks their tokens up for 3 months and then unlocks 25% quarterly, so vesting over a year. Advisors have the same schedule, and staking rewards will be fully locked until the staking system releases, of course, and reserve will be locked for a month, then unlocked at 20% monthly. All right. Here we can see all of that again in a graph. The team will get 10% of the tokens, which is very little. So I do like that. That means that there is more percentages going back into the community and to the project, which is good. Advisors get 5%, public 5%, staking rewards also at 5%. Marketing gets 20%, liquidity is at 10%, reserve at 10%, and the seed at 10% as well. So a pretty straightforward tokenomics, nothing really out of the ordinary here. Same can be said about the vesting, nothing looks too scammy, and overall, just your regular old tokenomics. Then here they have another roadmap, which is actually an older roadmap. This was their roadmap for 2021. So that's actually interesting to look at real quick. We see here Q2 2021, they fixed the token swap pools, the tiered system was released, and the KYC integration was done. Q3 saw the implementation of partial community voting, governance model, and the DAO R&D. And in Q4, the full DAO integration, revenue distribution, and OTC deal integration. Now, what I see is that, again, there's not a lot being done in the quarters. And for instance, here, Q3 2021 is nearly identical to Q3 2022. DAO R&D was literally posted like this on their roadmap here as well, I believe. Let's actually quickly go back and check. Q3, no, it was Q2. No, sorry, Q4, MoonEdge DAO. And that was exactly posted the same over here. DAO. So wasn't that done a year ago? Why is that on the roadmap again? Quite strange, but yeah, I guess that's what they were doing. And then in Q4, again, full DAO integration, revenue distribution to holders, and OTC deal integration. So that is basically their 2021 roadmap, and we already covered their 2022 roadmap. Then if we move over to their Twitter, we can see 135.6 thousand followers, which is quite a lot. They joined in March 2021, and we can see here their pinned tweet not even getting that much traction. Their other tweets are doing not so good either, not that much traction. They also don't post that regularly. They mainly do retweets. So yeah, overall, not very active on social media, especially not compared to the fact that they have 135,000 followers. So definitely was expecting a little bit more from that. Moving over actually to their LinkedIn page, mostly because I haven't actually seen their LinkedIn. So let's take a look here. MoonEdge, see if we can find anything on them. It doesn't look like they have a LinkedIn page. They're also not doxed over on their Twitter, website, or Whitepaper. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and assume that they have an undoxed team, which is a red flag, obviously. Without a doxed team, the team can get away with much more. Think about it, there has to be a reason for a team not to dox themselves. So for me personally, that is always a negative. And we're not even seeing a undoxed team. We're just seeing no notice of their team whatsoever. It's supposed to be on the website. It is supposed to be on the white paper. If it's not, there should be a LinkedIn page. We don't have any of the three. I did Google it as well. No searches were found, unfortunately. So nothing. So that is definitely a red flag. If the company was super new, maybe, but they've been out since 2021. They still haven't doxed themselves. Red flag for me. I don't like that at all. I've never actually invested myself in projects that did not have a doxed team. Okay, but anyways, this is their Twitter. Moving on to their holders, we can see that they only have 91,000. Oh, actually only, that is 91,000. Sorry, I read that wrong. I thought it was like 1,000, but 91,000 is actually a lot of holders. We can see here, obviously, these are contracts. Over here, the real investors start. We can see that definitely a bunch of biggest investors here own between 10 to 5,000 tokens, which, dollars, which is not actually that much. Usually with a Launchpad, you do see high up top, at least some big whales. Now, 10,000 is a big whale, but you see this massive drop off. And just like that, over here at the 30th place, we can already see investors with just $800. So we can already tell that even though this Launchpad has a lot of investors, they are really tiny with very small allocations. Either they are just small investors or they are beginning crypto investors. Regardless though, small investors means that you need a lot of them. Now, it does look like they do have a lot of them, but as you can see, all of these holders from 50 downwards, they all are less than $200 over here. After 150, you can already see that the value held in the wallets is basically non-existent. By 250, we can already see that less than $50 is held. So despite the fact that there are more than 90,000 holding addresses, well, you can see that past 350, it's literally just a couple of dollars. So don't get overconfident. Don't think, wow, this Launchpad has amazing amounts of holders. Yes, but not really, because the amount that's being held is literally non-existent. Now, if we look at the transfers, we can see 350,000 transfers being done. And that does make sense. We can see here multiple transfers every day, but again, relatively small amounts overall are being transferred. And it's weird to see transfers to begin with. Overall, on a Launchpad without much other utility, you don't really have to transfer around tokens too much. So a lot of transfers. Of course, we do have a lot of holders, so it makes sense overall. And yeah, I mean, that is just about it, you guys. That is the entire overview of MoonEdge. What are my personal thoughts on it in the end? Guys, I see no doxed team, and I'm seeing overall low quality projects, making me quite edgy on this. I don't feel incredibly bullish, especially because if we look at the this is just the TGE of one of their projects, super scammy looking. And if we look at their own token, we can see that it has lost almost all of its value in a very short amount of time, with a very bearish sentiment on CoinMarketCap. Now, again, that doesn't mean everything, but look at these spikes with this, here we see the volume only being $95. Here it is only very, very, very low volume, lots of volatility, and the holders are just very small, right? The low quality investors. So overall, I am not very bullish on a MoonEdge. It is definitely another tier 3 Launchpad with mostly tier 3 projects, and what they might do in the bull run, how they might change over time, only time can tell, really. Is there potential? Yes, there is potential in there. I mean, everything on the Polygon chain that isn't a downright rug pull has some form of potential, but they definitely need to get their team doxed. They definitely need to work on the quality of projects and the amount of projects that they push out, and that are bare minimums. Overall, though, it doesn't look like a complete scammy project, so you can definitely invest in it and get some profits, but overall, not my personal cup of tea. Now, as for my price prediction, again, it has flatlined. I don't see that change anytime soon. During a bull run, it can definitely spike up again, and it could easily make up to 1 cent, but overall, that would be temporary. There's not that much token utility, so I don't see the token price going very high up. But what do you guys think? Maybe you disagree with me? Let me know in the comments below. And of course, also join the Discord. We're 5,000 strong, and we would love to have you. So with that out of the way, please make sure to like and subscribe. I wish you all a very, very good day, and I will see you in the next one. Ciao, ciao.